Hey Bobcats, this is Miss Marvel, and in this super short video we are going to go over how you can use Desmos, graphing technology, to analyze a table of values. There's a couple questions on your exam that'll ask you to do this. Alright, so what we're looking at is the kind of problem where we are given a table of values, like the one you see here, and we are asked to determine the correlation coefficient, also called the R value, or determine the equation of the line that best models the data. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this information and we are going to drop that into a Desmos window. So you just go to desmos.com and you're going to take this information and drop it into a table. Notice that the order might change, like you may be given the information horizontally where the X's go across the top. Well, on Desmos, the X's are going to go down the left side, so you might have to do a little switch in there, but that I think you can manage that, not too tough there. Okay, so we take that information and we put it into a table. Now, for anybody taking the EOC or STAR test this year, you will be using the Texas testing version of Desmos, which is a little limited. So what you will do for the STAR test is you would hit the plus, you will add a table, that looks like it does right there, and you can just type in the numbers as you go. So when you're done, it'll look like this. And then to get the line of regression, you're going to type in y equals mx plus b, slope-intercept form, but with a little bit of a twist. So if we just type y equals mx plus b, it's not going to do anything. Here's the twist. The first thing we need to do is use y1 instead of y, because if you look up here, you'll see that it says y1. I want Desmos to look there. So I'm not going to say y, I'm going to say y1. Next, instead of an equal sign, we are going to use the tilde. That's the squiggly minus sign. You can find that on your computer keyboard, usually top left by the escape key, or you can use the keypad here and click ABC. The tilde will be right here on the bottom row. I don't need two of them. Okay. Let me get rid of that keyboard, put the keyboard down. Okay, then I'm going to type mx plus b, but I've still got a problem. It's still not doing anything because, again, I don't want it to just be x. My table says x1, so I'm going to type x1. Ah, magic happens. A line pops up. It gives me an r value. I don't want the r squared. I don't want this one on top that says 0.968. I want the r value. 0.9839, that is my R value. It has also given me the parameters. So my parameters here, I'm not sure if I can zoom this out just a little bit. There we go. My parameters here are m equals 2.2 and b equals -4. So if I were to try to type that in as an equation, it would be y equals, all right, m goes next, 2.2, and then x, and then it's actually plus -4. I would just type -4. And that's the equation. Pretty cool. Now, I've got great news for you. If you aren't taking the EOC and you just want Desmos to do the calculation, it's even easier. All you have to do is type in the table, and then instead of typing this whole thing in, all you have to do is at the top left, where you see this little funny looking graph and dot symbol, is click Add Regression. Tell it whether you want it to be a line, linear, or any of these other types. We do want it to be a line, a linear regression, and it does it all for you. There's my R value, there's my equation. Magic. Okay? Now, what does that R value mean? If you are asked to tell what the R value means, we'll look at 4 examples really quickly here. If you notice, this one is a pretty straight line going upward, and my R value is 0.98. Now, it's not a percentage, but if I was to make that into a percentage, that would be a 98%. Now, if you got a 98% on a test, you know what you're doing. You're doing really good. This is a really good, strong, positive line. Okay, so if I use that line to make a prediction, I'd probably get a really good prediction. You might also have a set of data that looks like this. Here's the table that I punched in. Again, all I'm going to do is click the Add Regression button. I want linear. There's my equation. There's my R value. Looking at this R value, 0.67. Well, if you change that to a percentage, that's like 67%. If you got a 67 on a test, you've got a clue what's going on, and it is going uphill. It's a positive line, but it's not nearly as strong as the other one. Okay? If you were to flip that around, and instead of the points going upwards, they go downwards, let's look at the effect on the R value. Okay, so now this is 0.58, so it's like 58%, and it's negative now because the line's going down. So a negative means the line goes down. The not so great number, a little bit lower value, means this is not so great line. I could make a prediction, but it would only be so-so. And then finally, let's take a look at this one. If I hit that regression button, take a look at my R value, I see it's negative. Yep, the line goes down. And I'm also seeing that it's 0.97. 97 on a test is a great score. It's a pretty good prediction line. It would give me great results. And that is all we've got. Okay, so just to summarize, if you need to get the R value, you can either type in the regression equation yourself, or you can use the regression button on Desmos. If you're asked to tell what the equation is, the regression button gives it to you. Typing in the regression equation gives you the information, but you still have to plug it in. And then the meaning of R, this is strong positive, this is moderate positive, this is moderate negative, this is strong negative. And you can tell that from how big the R value is and whether it's positive or whether it's negative.